I need to mention this. Is this?
No, well, you can among them. You registered yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay,
I told her to do it, I guess.
she registered you
Okay.
yesterday.
Why just tell them?
Okay. To let me know.
Tell them. All right. Meeting is called to order. Thank you all for being here tonight. It's Tuesday, February the 11th, 5:00 p.m. Please silence your cell phones. Let me say that to start off with, and thank you all for being here. The invocation will be given by Ms. Daly, followed by the pledge by Mr. McMillan.
Lord, we especially thank you for watching over all of our families during all this rain. Lord, we just pray that you would guide us and direct us in the way to vote and the way to handle our business that is pleasing to you. We thank you, that's in your name.
Attention, salute, flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, everyone's here. Recognition, we have some teachers of the year. I'm gonna call you out if you're here, right? And we'll get a picture. Centerville Middle, Haley Holzenbeck. Robert Lowell from West Blockton Middle. Sally Simmons, Randolph Elementary. Did I say that right? Green Elementary, Katie Luker. West Blockton Elementary, Jessica Taylor.
We should have.
Woodstock Elementary, Amy Williams. Now for secondary, Centerville Middle, Tiffany Ryan. West Blockton Middle, Starla Conroy. West Blockton High, Kimberly Mabry. Bibb County High, Megan Pierce. Bibb County Career Academy, Mitchell Buchanan. All right. Bibb County also selected the system winners. Congratulations to Tiffany Roddy, secondary, and Jessica Taylor Elementary for being selected as the 2020 Bibb County Schools Teachers of the Year. Congratulations.
You felt it right, is that right?
And before we move on to the next one, I gotta mention that our superintendent was given for the second year in a row, awarded the District 7 for legislative engagement. The school superintendents of Alabama, it was given February 4th, and it was presented to District 7 President Dwayne McGee. So big hand for it is always a good thing to reward excellence. All right, approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion.
Second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All budget presentation by Mr. Matthew Robinson. Matthew? Thanks for being here.
Good evening. As you said, I'm Matthew Robinson with the State Department of Examiners of Public Accounts. And in accordance with the provisions of Act 2006-196, commonly referred to as the School Fiscal Accountability Act, I'm here to present the audit report on the Bibb County Board of Education covering the audit period October 1, 2017 through September 30th, 2018. We conducted our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards for the purpose of rendering an opinion on the financial statements and to determine whether the board complied with applicable laws and regulations. We also conducted an audit of the board's federal financial assistance programs in accordance with the provisions of uniform guidance. We issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, which means the board's financial statements present fairly in all material respects its financial position and the results of operations for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2018. Tests performed during the audit did not disclose any significant instances of non-compliance with applicable state and local laws and regulations. Matters relating to the board's internal controls are included as an audit finding in the schedule of findings and question costs. And this will be finding 2018, number 1. An adequate system of internal controls over cash requires bank accounts to be properly reconciled and bank reconciliations to be retained for review. Bank reconciliations for the payroll and accounts payable bank accounts were not reconciled to the book balances at September 30th, 2018. And a bank reconciliation for the general fund bank account was not provided for review. The board did not have procedures in place to ensure accurate bank reconciliations were prepared and retained for review. As a result, errors may occur in accounting records and may not be detected in a timely manner. The board's major federal financial assistance programs tested were the Child Nutrition Cluster and the Special Education Cluster. And we issued a qualified opinion on the Special Education Cluster and an unmodified opinion on the Child Nutrition Cluster. We noted a finding related to the Special Education Cluster, finding 2018-2. Finding Title II U.S. Code of Federal Regulations, Part 200, commonly known as Uniform Guidance, specifically the compliance requirements regarding procurement require the board to use specific methods of procurement. The Uniform Guidance Section 200-320 requires small purchase procedures to be used for securing services, supplies, or other property for the amounts that exceed the micro-purchase threshold of $10,000, but do not exceed the simplified acquisition threshold of $250,000 by obtaining quotations from an adequate number of qualified sources. Sealed bids or competitive proposals are required for purchases of service, supplies, or other property that exceed the simplified acquisition threshold. The Bibb County Board of Education adopted a policy on December 13, 2016 related to uniform guidance for federal awards that requires obtaining a price or rate quotes from 2 or more qualified sources for procurement transactions that exceed the micro-purchase threshold and proposals from professional service contracts that exceed $250,000. The board expended funds from the Special Education Cluster for services which exceeded the micro-purchase threshold without obtaining quotes from adequate number of sources. In addition, the Special Education Cluster also expended funds which exceed the $250,000 without obtaining sealed bids or competitive proposals. As a result, the board did not follow Uniform Guidance Section 200-220 or its adopted policy relating to uniform guidance for the federal awards for these transactions. This finding was previously reported as finding 2017 number 2. The superintendent has prepared a corrective action plan, and it is included in our audit report as Exhibit 19. The full audit report is available on our website, examiners.alabama.gov. Thank you.
Matthew, thanks.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments? All right. Financial report and bank reconciliations. We received the financials and bank reconciliations for November, December 19. Request to approve bills for December 19th and 20th. Clear motion.
Make a motion.
Second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Budget amendment. Budget amendment one includes changes to the original budget to include budget the beginning fund balances to match the 2019 ending fund balances, changing in federal fund to include necessary adjustments since the submission of the original budget and to budget any carryover funds which were not available when the original budget was submitted. This includes the addition of state grant funds and state fund sources that were not available at the time of the original budget submission. So I need a motion for that budget amendment. Second, any discussion or questions? And these were just updated financials really to add to the budget. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Superintendent goals. We have those, every year we have jointly agreed upon goals that the superintendent is expected to meet. We got them, they're public, you can see them anytime you want to. Action consent, consulting services, Schneider Electric. Request approval for consultation services with Schneider Electric for electrical issues and energy conservation at West Blockton High School. Do your motion. Second. Any discussion or questions? George?
Yeah, board members, I have with us tonight, Mr. Kyle Keith with Schneider Electric. As we've discussed and talked about for months and months now, we're starting with the gym lights, at the high school at West Blockton, the new gym. There's always been an issue, not always, but practically with the lights there. Mr. Lawley has to get a ladder and climb up above the ceiling to get those on and off sometimes. And for probably at least a good part of the year now, the lights in the high school just go off at any given time. According to Mr. Mims, the system that school's on, the energy efficiency system with the computer motherboards, that's gone bad, and we cannot get replacement parts for it. We've worked on it. We've actually spent money. I remember about this time last year, I think we spent $8,000 to $10,000 on a switch outside coming into the school, thinking that was the issue, and it's still ongoing. So I know that some of you actually met Kyle, I think at the December AASB meeting, and Schneider's someone that Mr. Mims and Mr. Haygood and I have met with. So we put out for 10 days a request for qualifications for a company to come in with engineers and experts to diagnose the issues and come up with a solution. Schneider Electric was the only company that answered the request. It was posted on our district website. So what I've asked them to do is to come in and look at the whole layout of the school, not just with the problem with the lights that will come on or go off at random times, but with the energy efficiency as well. Without them even coming in, I've got a feeling that it's going to include probably a switch over to all LED lights, but that's what everything seems to be going to anyway. But at this time, I'll ask Kyle if he's got anything he'd like to address or say to the board, and if you have any questions, we'll go on from there.
I appreciate it. Excuse me. Hey, good evening. I'm Kyle Keith. Thank you for the introduction. I know some of you I've met before at various events. We've been working in Alabama school systems it's going on my 10th year now. I've been working with schools for 15 years across the state. Probably a third of the systems throughout Alabama call us a partner. A couple things that I'll just add to that. visiting the schools with Mr. Mims last summer, with Mr. Mims last summer. His guys do a really good job staying ahead of things, but with construction, things don't always happen, right? So, we just want to be here to help you guys address those issues at West Blockton. We'll look at everything else as, kind of dating and at the end of its useful life as well, to come up with a good solution there at that one school as a start. But just, appreciate the opportunity to take this next step. If any of you guys have any other questions or anything after the meeting, I'll be glad to stay after. But it's good to see some of y'all. It's nice to meet the rest of y'all as well. So thank you.
Have you already walked through the school? Have you walked through the school yet?
Yes, ma'am.
So you got a sort of idea of what's going on?
Yeah, so as part of the kind of the vetting process with your administration, we started talking. What was it? It's been several months now that we've been in discussion and planning on this. And as part of that process, I brought out a team of 4 or 5 of our engineers. We actually visited all the schools, but we knew that one school is a priority, specifically the lighting at the gym and the rest of the high school. So we took a look at that and definitely agree that it's worth taking this next step as a deeper look into that to come up with a solution. So, any other questions?
When will you have an answer about, some
Sure.
estimate?
So now that you've taken this next step, obviously, we'll bring our team out again. Depending on what we see out there, we might lean on some more specialized team members that we have to come out and make return visits. But over the course of the next few months, we'll be coming back to give you guys updates based on what we see, what some of our recommendations are, so that you guys in the administration will be able to definitely have a handle on the direction of this and where it goes and what all is included in that. So our goal is to work with you guys throughout the spring and summer to identify those things and come up with a solution and then move on from there.
At what point, Kyle, from tonight, would we expect, or would I expect maybe one of your engineers to meet with Mr. Lawley and Mr. Mims to do, I know that we've already done, or you've already done a walkthrough, but to actually get down to a more in-depth look at panels, loads, the current efficiency system that has not been efficient at all. Are we looking at 30 days, within the next 30?
Yeah, that would
60?
just be a matter of after tonight, getting the thumbs up from you guys, just scheduling with y'all's team and our team to get people out on site. That'll be the next few weeks.
Okay. All right. And once, the way my understanding is, once your team comes in and comes up with a solution, a plan of action, that you will either recommend contractors, or if we have our own that we want to use, we could do that, but your group will oversee that the corrections are made according to how you draw it out.
Yeah, so typically the way we approach school systems is we're able to bring all the design expertise in-house to identify the issues you have, come up with the best fit solution. Then from there, once we have a design, we'll actually oversee all of the work. So we deal with everything from overseeing contractors to going through the building commission. You're talking about lighting. Things like that are going to require stamp drawings and things of that nature. So our team, takes on the burden of overseeing all of that work and making sure that it's done right. And then on the back end, we'll be supporting it. So it's been really successful with other school systems for us to oversee it from start to finish. That way, whatever's being done at the school is being done with quality, and we stand behind everything that we do, so that things will function properly moving forward.
Anybody else? Ms. Booth?
Mr. Lawley, how long has this been a problem in the gymnasium?
Several years.
Ever since you've been principal?
No, I think the gym was built probably, 10 years ago.
Mhm.
I'd say the system probably functioned maybe 2 years.
You're saying
The-
after 2 years, the problem started occurring?
Yes. The system that's in the high school is very similar. It's
but separate from the gym, from the so-called new gym.
Right,
The different issues with the high school.
yes,
Right.
there is two differences.
Can't cut it off, sometimes it
Sure.
can, some you can't, sometimes it comes
That's
on.
right.
How long has that been? going?
It's been a few years.
Well, I just say, I hope we can correct, I know it's from it has to run the energy bill up tremendous. And, I'm sure, but I'm gonna ask anyway, probably way too late to, explore who's responsible, not the board naturally, or the superintendent principal. I'm talking about the people who
Right.
install
The,
it. What do you think about that? You think it's way too late to,
I think, it's one of those things that, when you look at traditional construction methods, some of it can be product-based, some of it can be installer-based, some of it can just be age and wear and tear, so that can be kind of difficult. The one thing I'll say about this approach, though, is by having one single company that's accountable, before we design anything or before we install it, since we know we have to stand behind it on the back end, is we do a lot of due diligence to make sure that what we're putting in is quality and working for you guys, because in instances like that, sometimes corners can be cut. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but a few years down the road, it could be any number of things as to why it doesn't work right.
How long do you stand behind it?
Sure. So, just a little bit of retrospective for us. Our first client in the state was Jacksonville City Schools. That was 13 years ago. They have one elementary and one middle, one high school. We've been doing work in other states for a number of years, but had never done anything in Alabama. So we started small with them and did a good job. And they're still our partner to this day. Superintendent at the time is now our superintendent. So we like to say that we did a good job doing right by him, and other people have hopped on board to work with us. So that's now 13 years deep, but the state statute allows us to stand behind the performance of what we do for 20 years. That'll be our goal.
Unfortunately, as soon as those places were built, we started having problems. The gym here had hot water lines that weren't running to the gym. And a week before the first basketball game, there were no scoreboards or backboards. The problem resulted from, and we're not micromanagers. It's not our job to go into schools to oversee projects. What happens is when you have a big project, you have to hire somebody to oversee it, general contractor license. It takes a lot to get that. The people that were supposed to be overseeing that let us down. And unfortunately, you don't know that until problems pop up. And I brought that up. Can we go back and get them at that point? There's very little you can do.
so what
Of all
happened? Was
things.
it corrected?
But yeah, we had to spend a pretty good bit of money. We were about to be fined for not having scoreboards and backboards and goals up for the first term.
Who
was
was
ridiculous.
fined? The State Athletic Association? Who
Yeah.
did the fine?
State Athletic Association. I mean, you didn't have a field prepared to play, basically, is what.
What if we had a ball game and the lights wouldn't work?
Hey, so I've been at ball games where the lights have failed before, so. But anyway,
Well, I'm
With-
glad
with
y'all got
Snyder-
your problem fixed.
well, with Snyder,
Yeah,
what you
my
got is you got an established group that's got a track record of overseeing these projects and standing behind it. And that's not what we've had. So this will be good. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you, guys.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, resolution opposing school start date legislation. Proposed board resolution opposes the mandatory start date legislation. Mr. McGee is gonna read it. If we were telling what it is,
Well,
first, I mean, legislature.
I know all of you probably heard that Representative Hurst of Mumford has been rumored for several weeks now to come out with a bill to mandate a school calendar that would start after Labor Day and end before Memorial Day. He has yet to introduce that calendar. The note that we superintendent's got this morning is that he intends to do that this week. If he didn't today, I haven't been able to keep up with the goings on in Montgomery today. But, as you probably know, AASB, School Board Association, has asked boards such as ours to come up with a resolution, to oppose this. So, using a template that they've given, I've created a resolution. It was in, I think it was either in your board packet or you may have a copy of it with you. And I'll read through it just real quickly. Be it resolved by the Boone County Board of Education, an agency of the state of Alabama, whereas the board is aware that members of the Alabama legislature may consider legislation that would outline school start and end dates for public schools, whereas each local board of education already is required by Alabama code to set a uniform start date for all schools within its system, whereas unique decisions take place in 137 school systems regarding student achievement, holiday preferences, community events, teacher PD, partnerships, whereas the board is charged with making decisions that are in the best interest of its students and student achievement, whereas the board is held accountable for student achievement, not only by the community, but under state and federal programs, whereas local decisions about school calendar directly impact student performance, whereas a statewide school start date would compromise the board's academic calendar, whereas the board's academic calendar is education priority and not a business of tourism, whereas the education community urges policymakers to leave our calendar authority local. Now therefore be it resolved that the members of the Bibb County Board of Education unequivocally oppose statewide efforts to mandate a school calendar and ask all lawmakers representing Bibb County to vote against any bill which proposes to outline a statewide start and or end date for Alabama public schools. Obviously, this isn't binding, but the resolution, if passed tonight, I'll pass that along to Cam Ward, April Weaver, and Ralph Howard to let them know that our board opposes any legislation that would mandate, tell us when we should start our schools and or end our schools. I was asked by SSA to create a calendar for what our district would look like. I shared this with principals, last week. And, it's easy to say that there's no way this would pass because of the outrage of parents and teachers, but, they're still gonna do it. It might not be the Labor Day to Memorial Day definite. It may be after Labor Day and leave the back end open, but, the feelings among the Alabama Association of School Boards and the State Superintendent's Association, as well as I'm sure CLAS and AA, is to leave these up to local boards to establish a school calendar. So, that's what it's about. And, Mr. Oakley, I guess this is asking for,
Yeah, I need a
a
motion.
motion to adopt it as just a resolution.
Need a motion to adopt
And
the
before-
resolution.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Before we vote, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
This is proposed to be statewide
Yes.
legislation. Every school in the state starts and opens, what else is
it's
supposed to?
after Labor Day and end before.
What
Memorial
about,
Day.
vacations,
Well, they're looking at,
our,
you know,
Christmas, we call it Christmas vacation, Thanksgiving's over, that's.
none of that is said. The only thing that's required, there are some holidays you have to take.
Right.
Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, Martin Luther King holiday. Those are the only ones that would absolutely have to be taken. What these legislators don't understand is to get 180 student days between Labor Day and Memorial Day. It can't be done without cutting out all of spring break, basically all of the Thanksgiving break, except for maybe the Thursday and Friday, and essentially have to go to school during the traditional Christmas 2-week break. In other words, we would have to attend school 2 or 3 days between Christmas and New Year's to get out by Memorial Day, to get 180 days.
Did they name the school hours, like start at such a
That's
time?
what we're looking to see. That's the talk, is that they may extend the school day like from 8 to 5. But again,
That would be crazy.
I can't see that happening. What's interesting is this was all leaked out 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's been the Department of Tourism that keeps pushing it. Now, Representative
Why would-
Hurst is.
Why would they, propose such a rigid?
Still starting it first
Yeah,
of
everybody starts
August.
them.
They're saying that if you didn't start.
They're probably looking at vacation,
I mean-
people going on vacation, get back. Who's sponsoring this? What legislator?
His name is Hurst, Stephen Hurst. He's from Montford, and I've been told why. I've been told it has more to do with a camp that he's and his people in his district are working with, a Camp Mac, but I don't know if that's true or not. It's in Talladega County near Cheehaw. But now he's putting it in the terms of, this is the long summer will give our students workforce ready development. They can work all summer and get their workforce skills done. It's sort of, they're backing off the tourism part of it and saying now that this is what's good for our business and economy, to get all of these students ability to work and get work experience in the summer.
Excuse me, but have they proposed a starting date and an ending date?
The bill has not been
Haven't even
introduced.
mentioned it.
It hasn't been introduced yet, but we were told this morning that he is still on it, and he says it's coming. But since all of this outrage has happened over the last week, they're taking a look at it, and again, I think they're gonna have to come up with something like, I can't imagine them dropping from 180 days to 170 like we used to be, but if you want to get it in between Labor Day,
I would be in favor of that.
if you want to get it in between Labor Day and Memorial Day, you're gonna have to cut the days down and make them longer.
That would be opposed to what they already have.
Yeah.
And all we're doing is tell the legislature,
We're again.
if enough parents and teachers and principals and us wanted to do a schedule just like that, we could do it. The local control. What are our local citizens? Well, all we're doing is telling the legislature, hands off of local decisions, we're better suited to answer to the constituents that put us in office.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
McGee.
So,
All right, need a motion to adopt this resolution opposing school start date.
I make a motion.
Second,
Second.
any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. None opposed. All right. Need a request to approve option 1 for the Bibb County Schools speaking of calendars, 2021 school calendar. Drafts were received at the last meeting. And these were ones that were sent around to community teachers and principals. Y'all good with it? Everybody good with it? I need a motion to adopt option 1 for the calendar.
I think that.
Second,
I second.
all, discussion or questions?
this is the only option that I received positive feedback on. I had several principals, and others, when I pressed them for which one, the only response I got back from anybody was for option 1. I didn't hear anybody even speak in favor of option 2. And they're not that different, but, anyway, option 1 seems to be what, most of our, people that responded to.
Good deal. So, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opposed. All right, request to approve contracted services with the Learning Tree for instructional program services, behavior reduction program development, functional behavior assessments, and employee training to implement teaching programs. Payment of $105 per hour for one consultant and $150 per hour when two consultants are on site together, plus mileage not to exceed 10,000. This will be paid from IDEA funds. Do I hear a motion to approve contracted services with Learning Tree?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request to approve contracted services with Behavioral Pediatric Institute of Alabama for school consultation and evaluation services from February 10th, 2020 to September 30th, 2020. Payment not to exceed 10,000 to be made from IDEA funds. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Yeah, I'd like to know, have we been doing this in the past? Is this something new? While we have an outside person coming in, is this something we can?
We normally contract with these to come in and do evaluations for,
Is this for students
for
or?
evaluating students for special education services.
Okay, so we don't do that through the special ed department anymore, I mean, they don't do that.
No, we normally, when we do stuff like this, it's because, attorneys have requested it through a resolution hearing.
Anybody else? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, request to approve contract services with Michael Guzman, children's music clinician, to work with West Walton High School and Bibb County High School concert bands for a joint concert. Payment of $200 per school to be made from WVHS and VCHS local school funds. Hear a motion?
Where's it gonna be played? Where's the performance?
I don't,
Just out of curiosity.
it's, the last couple of years, it's been here in the board auditorium, but I don't know, I don't even know the date of it. I don't see either of our high school principals here, so I don't have the date. Oh, I don't, have you got the date?
I believe it's here on March the 20th.
March the
I think
20th?
it's March the 20th.
Okay.
Hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request to approve payment of Michael Johnson to present a science assembly to Centerville Middle. Payment of $675 to be made from CMS and local school funds. Hear a motion?
I think that motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Request to approve Bradley Cook and Madison Horton as concession workers for Bibb County High School baseball. Payment of $25 each per home game to be made from BCHS local school funds. Hear a motion?
Make that motion.
Second?
Discussion.
Hold on, got a second first.
Go ahead. Second.
Second. Any discussion or questions?
Discussion.
Yes, sir.
How does this fall in line with the wage and hour law?
These are, well, these are not students, they've just graduated recently. But it says local school funds. I think in the past, the baseball account has just paid workers to work in the concession stand. I think some of our other schools have done that too. Your question as far as wage and hour, I'll ask Mr. Haygood, unless they work over 40 hours a week.
Well, there's the other issues, minimum wage, so, it depends on how long that baseball game is. If they do
Right.
$7.25.
Going extra innings, it could be more hours.
That's correct. But we have changed the way we were paying these individuals, and they do get paid through payroll now. But I'll have to talk to principals and make sure that we're looking at the time that these people are working in these concession stands, but I can do that.
That's becoming an issue these days, really.
Sure is.
Because it's, what is it, 7:25, we saw that in our webinar, so you're right, if it's anything getting over 3 hours.
Which, sometimes they score a lot of runs, so it can be.
So you're gonna,
I I will work with principals to make sure we comply. We have a policy that says we're going to.
Maybe we ought to table this motion till we find out more
We
information.
could, do you think maybe it should just be, instead of per game, be minimum wage?
How,
We got time to find out before the season starts, I hope.
I don't know.
Season starts this week.
Oh,
Yeah.
does it?
The,
Skip County, one of y'all first games here.
Supposed to have
As
one.
long as-
Thursday,
as long as he
play Friday.
checks with the principals and clears.
When Skip County play their first, you know?
Friday at home.
I think if, what I'd like for you to do is approve it and then let me follow the policy as far as how we pay them. Because you do have a policy that says we'll follow it, the Fair Labor Standards Act.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
All right,
to
we
me.
had all right, all in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Thanks, sir.
with the addition of what?
Yeah, he's gonna follow up.
Just like I said, I'll make sure we follow the policy when we pay these people.
Request to approve payment of Kelly Hutchinson, the MC for the West Lockton Middle School pageant. Payment of $150 to be made from WBMS local school funds. Your motion. Second,
Second.
any discussion or questions? I did those for years, volunteer basis. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve payment of pageant judges for Randolph Elementary School. Payment of $50 per judge to be made from RES local school funds. Do your motion.
Make it motion.
Second,
I'll second.
any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Discussion, hold on.
Yes, sir.
I guess, I don't want to prolong our meeting, but would the same apply? I know different schools have different amounts of money. I know we're doing it to raise, they are doing it to raise money to help whatever program they got. And I don't want to,
I think
I'm not
pageant
bringing this
judges,
up to hinder any school,
Well, let me,
but
pageant judges will be a
again,
contractual
I'm wondering.
basis.
well, it is, and that's what I was gonna say, is these amounts that we're approving here is more like a volunteer stipend to reimburse them for their expenses. It's not
Yeah.
really a wage that we're paying these individuals. And that's the only case that we follow that, is where we got judges that are coming in.
Yeah, and there's several of them.
So that's a different category.
It's a different category.
All right,
Thank
do we have a motion to second?
I
you.
got
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good questions. I mean, we had a webinar on wage and hour law, and it's pretty significant. Request to approve payment of judges for Centerville Middle School majorette tryouts. Payment of $50 per judge to be made from CMS local school funds. Your motion.
Make it motion.
Second,
Second.
any discussion or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Request to approve payment of judges for West Lockton High School majorette and color guard tryouts. Payment of $150 per judge to be divided between the WBHS majorette and color guard funds. Your motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request to approve payment of Ashland Partridge for tryout choreography for West Lockton High School majorettes. Payment of $125 will be made from the WBHS majorette funds. Your motion.
I make it motion.
Second,
Second.
any discussion or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Request to approve payment of judges for Bibb County High School auxiliary tryouts. Payment of $75 per judge to be made from BCHS local school funds. Your motion.
Make it motion.
Second,
Second.
any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request to approve payment of judges for Bibb County High School Little Miss Bibb pageant. Payment of $75 per judge to be made from BCHS majorette funds. Your motion.
I make that motion.
Second,
Second.
discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve payment of Bethany Fields for teaching routine and fundamentals for color guard tryouts for West Lockton High School. Payment of $125 to be made from WBHS color guard funds. Your motion.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion or questions? I want to say that over the past few years, the band at West Lockton has been outstanding, and the auxiliary units have really enhanced that band. All in favor? Any opposed? Request to approve payment of judges for West Lockton Middle School pageant. Payment of $100 per judge to be made from WBMS local school funds. Your motion. Second, any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request to approve payment of Paula Jennings from Adrian Tryout Clinician, Benton County High School. Payment of $175 to be made from BCHS local school funds. Your motion.
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve payment of Deanna Chandler for dance line tryout clinician, Benton County High School. Payment of $175 to be made from BCHS local school funds. Your motion. Second, any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve payment of judges for Benton County High School beauty walk. Payment of $100 per judge to be made from BCHS local school funds. Your motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request to approve payment of pageant judges for West Block Elementary School. Payment of $75 per judge to be made from WBES local school funds. Your motion.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Field trips. Request approval of West Blockton Middle School cheerleaders to attend cheer camp at the University of Alabama, June 22, 25, 2020. This will include an overnight stay at the Capstone Hotel on the UA campus. Payment will be made from WBMS cheer funds. Your motion.
So moved.
Second. All, discussion questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve the resignation of Mary Catherine Cargile, child nutrition worker, West Blockton Elementary, effective March 6, 2020. Your motion. Second.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve the resignation of Ann Cornegie, receptionist, Woodstock Elementary School, effective May 22nd, 2020. Your motion.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Request to approve the resignation of Chelsea Hyatt as girls head basketball coach, West Blockton High School, effective February the 10th, 2020. Your motion. Second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Chelsea, you've been a good influence on those girls. You bet-
Started
you bet.
voting no on that.
I know, but, I mean, I'm sorry to say that we didn't have to approve that, but you really have been. Request to approve the employment of Susan Young as assistant principal, Brent Elementary, effective February 13th, 2020. Second.
So moved.
Any
Second.
discussion or questions? Very effective person. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request to approve the employment of Candace McGee, bus driver, effective February the 12th, 2020. Your motion. Second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve Brianna Fonder as art music teacher, West Blockton Elementary School for the 2019-2020 school year, effective February 14th. Payment of $100 per Friday to be made from WBES Title I funds. Your motion. Second.
Second.
Discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval of subs. Lisa Hall, CMP sub. Gloria Ann Smith, CMP sub. Angela Gibson, classroom sub. Jadian Bishop, classroom sub. Your motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The Sick Leave Bank Committee has approved Shelley Smitherman Wiley to extend catastrophic sick leave for 23 weeks. I don't guess we need to have you, it's just an information.
Information there.
The sick leave bank committee has approved Jennifer Downs to take catastrophic sick leave for 17 weeks. Just for
Yeah,
information.
we have a sick leave bank committee that these are submitted to, and I think they met last Monday to to look at these, so.
All right. Request to approve the following cast, 21st Century Community Learning Center workers for Brent Elementary, Bibb County High School. Payment to be made from cast 21st Century funds. Corey Smith and Kate Reinhardt, student workers, BES campus, $7.50 an hour, 4 to 10 hours per week. Philip Peak, tutor, track and field instructor, BCHS campus, $25 an hour, 3 to 6 hours per week. Bethany Fields, dance instructor, program specialist, BCHS campus, $25 an hour, 3 to 6 hours per week. Do your motion.
That motion.
All right, second.
I second it.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next board meeting, Tuesday, March 10th, 2020 at 5 p.m. Everybody good with that? Superintendent remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Oakley. I want to recognize a couple of students. We have the 2020 State Superintendent's Visual Arts exhibit. And we had a couple of students who submitted artwork. Their work was, before we took it to Montgomery, it was on display here at the central office. And we had two students that placed. This is a letter that these students received. And Dr. Cutts at the Alternative School heads that up for us. One's Allison Bale. Allison Bale is with great pleasure to announce that your art submitted to the 2020 State Superintendent's Visual Art Exhibit, Division 7 and 8, placed with honorable mention by the state judges. Just to remind everyone, secondary division exhibit will be held February 3rd through the 21st. And the elementary division exhibit will be held March 2nd through the 20th. The exhibits of the student artwork will be on public display in the old Supreme Court Library of the Alabama State Capitol. An awards reception for the secondary division will be held for the best of show, first, second, and third place and honorable mention, winning students and their visual arts instructors on February the 13th, 2020. There will also be an awards program for student winners and a reception honoring all students, open to all who wish to attend the elementary division on March the 12th. So congratulations first to Allison Bale, West Lockton Middle School student, for honorable mention. Now, we do also have a first place winner, and this is Connor Jace Davis. He's a student at Woodstock Elementary. Miss Esmond's here. Connor was a first place winner in the K2 division. The letter mentions all of that same information. I want to congratulate these two students and recognize them for their work for the state superintendent's visual arts exhibit. And we will try to get them here at a board meeting to recognize them, possibly at the March board meeting. We can get them here with their art as soon as their art's released and recognize them here at a board meeting. Also, we had our spelling bee. This was last week. I think it was Monday or Tuesday night last week. And congratulations to Braden Six, Bibb County Spelling Bee winner. Braden's a 5th grade student at West Lockton Middle School. He will compete in the state spelling bee on March 21st at UAB. And that was here. I was in Montgomery last week at the superintendent's conference and wasn't able to attend this year, but I did see some pictures. So congratulations to Brandon for winning the state spelling bee. Excuse me, for winning the county spelling bee. He goes on to state March 21st. Also, board members, I think I did. It wasn't included in your packet, but it is on the. I included it as attachment on the assembly site. We've had a parent to email and request a change of board meeting times. Miss Candace Rice has emailed and asked that I would pass that request along to you. I don't know if you've had any requests from any, other parents or anyone. It's up to you as a board to set your meeting time. We've been meeting at 5 o'clock, but, you know, nothing's ever, it's not set by law or board policy, but we did receive a request to change the, board meeting time to 6 o'clock. That's something we can discuss, you can discuss.
We'll talk about
And like I say, I'm open
that. I am
to
too.
any change more convenient to the public.
No doubt.
I know a lot of people have to work, and maybe some more would be able to attend, so I'm open to any, not only, whatever time would be more convenient. And
Right.
I don't know how to determine that, but.
Well, it's not a decision we have to make tonight. You
Right.
can if you want to, when we set, just right before the next board meeting, we set that. But that's up to you as board members, just like when we have need for a called board meeting, we get our calendars out, look at times and dates. But it's certainly up to you as board members.
Well, I like the weeknight date, Tuesday, that's where it's standing.
Yeah,
Second Tuesday of the month, and I think we should,
That ought to be,
yeah.
that ought to probably stay the same, because people get accustomed to that, but I am, like I said, repeat myself, I'm open to time to start the meeting myself.
all right, we will definitely we'll take into consideration, talk about it, because we're all open to
If-
make it accessible.
y'all think it over if you want, if that's something you want to do or whatever. I'll get with me between now and the next meeting, and I'll put it on the agenda that we change our board meetings, if you want me to put it on the agenda and make that a permanent thing, or if you just want to go from, it needs to be consistent, but
Yeah.
you
Sure.
certainly could go meeting to meeting, but, whatever it is, we need to be consistent with it.
We've got, I call her Candy, she is my student. Could we ask her specifically why
Sure.
she
Sure.
wants that time?
6 o'clock is just what I suggested, because I live on the other end in Woodstock, and I timed it coming down here, it took me about 30 minutes, which it was pouring out rain, so that could be
Right.
a little bit of it, but if most parents get off at 5 o'clock, I just suggested 6, because I thought that would be, suffice for parents to get here in time.
Thank you, Candy.
Miss,
No, because I was just gonna say, before we change it permanently, you know, maybe do a trial and error to see how many parents would be here, because most of our audience are the principals and teachers or employees. And I just hate for them to have to stay an extra hour, and then we have, you know, maybe 2 or 3 parents, or no parents, you know, show for that. That's just my concern.
It's a long day for sure. We will definitely, can take that under consideration and talk about it.
Another thing, a couple other things I want to mention. We talked about the calendar bill. I don't know if you're aware of it, but I just want to make board members aware of it. There is a bill introduced already to change school board members' terms from 6 years to 4 years. I'm not aware if AASB is taking a position on that. I don't know that SSA is taking a position, but it's just something that if you're not aware of, you might want to start following the legislation. I'll try to keep you abreast of it, but that bill has been introduced to change all public school board members' offices from 6 years to 4 years. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm just telling you that bill has been introduced. And I'll try and give you more information about that in the coming days.
Can I prolong this discussion on the time of the meeting,
Yes.
starting the meeting?
Yes,
Ms. Jones brought up a good point. So I'd like to ask this question concerning principals and whoever else, are they required to come to these meetings?
They're not required. It's helpful if they have a piece of, action on the
I
agenda
agree,
that they
that's,
show
that's
up. but
nice to have them, and I think that's really professional of them to do that, but
It's not, to my knowledge, it's
do we
not.
need to poll
required.
them? Because, not in public right now, but I'm trying to be fair to I wanna be fair to everybody. And I know we do need more parent,
Well,
we need more parent involvement in education.
well,
And I'm not trying to get on the grandstand.
I'll say this, and you're right, it's public meeting, just like any other boards, commissions, it's a public meeting. One thing I do want to point out to you tonight, and we've mentioned this before, we have the camera here. You see it right up in the back. We can live stream all of our meetings now. Anybody can go to our board website, and there's a link to live streaming, and there it is. It's recorded. If they want to come back later tonight or tomorrow morning and look at the board meeting and watch it, we finally have that. I think Mr. Lally, Wes Lally, and Branton, and Mr. Mims got that hooked up. So I'm not saying that's a substitute for the public attending the meeting, but we do have means now for anyone who wants to at least see the meeting and hear it and see how what goes on along. It's live streamed, and then at some point after the meeting ends, it will be, there'll be a link to it, so you could watch it tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. And that's, again, that just makes it available for people maybe that can't get out and drive over. If you've got a smartphone, you can just pull it up and watch it, just like everybody sitting here is watching us right now. So, again, I'm not saying that that should in any way have anything to do with when we set our times. I'm just saying that, in efforts to make our meetings and everything we do more transparent, we do have that now so that it's live streamed and can be followed along and watched later. Couple other things I want to recognize, our cheer squads, West Blockton High School, Tiffany Dodd and David Steele, Bibb County High School, Keisha Austin and Kelsey Delaney, cheer coaches. Our high school cheer squads competed down in Orlando this past weekend, and they represented themselves and their schools and their communities well. And I want to recognize the job they did and recognize those coaches, Ms. Dodd, Coach Steele, Ms. Austin, Ms. Delaney. Appreciate all the work they do with our cheer squads, and they had an outstanding season, and we're proud of them. And again, they represented themselves and their schools and communities very well this past weekend. As a matter of just bringing up for quick discussion, out at Central Middle School at the baseball field, there's two portables out there. There's one that's sort of like the ones that we used to have at Woodstock. Trees are growing up around it. It hadn't been used for years and years. When I finally went in it, there are places where the floor is rotted in it. The other portable is actually used by the baseball team when they practice. They practice out there. They play most of their games at the high school or the park, but for practice, they go into that other portable, change clothes. So they use that one. But there is the other portable that's sort of more of an eyesore than anything. And I'd like to ask the board what their thoughts are on just declaring that surplus and getting rid of it. It's not used at the middle school. They do not use it. It was originally set up to be a concession stand restroom and, was never completed and it's not in real good shape. It's probably more of just an eyesore and a nuisance than we could ever turn it into anything that can be used. So you've seen it. I know we have had the timber cut and it just seems to stand out a little more prominent now that we've had the timber cut because it's got saplings and other things sort of growing around it. So well, I'd like to know what your thoughts are on that,
Surplus.
that portable. Mr. Mike?
Do away with it.
There's no use. It's eyesore, I'd say demolish it or whatever. Move it.
Mr. Hagood,
Can y'all vote on that?
well,
It could be a liability.
we'll take a look at that and see if maybe that's something we need to add to an agenda item. The other thing I wanted to mention, of course, we had a delayed start this morning. Talked to Mr. Lowry before he's already left, but I do think that we still have some roads all throughout our county that some have been underwater. We're expecting more rain tonight, but we're not under the flood watch anymore. Seems to be that the issue now could be high winds and trees coming down over our roads. I don't know that they will flood, but if we have some thunderstorms tonight or tomorrow, or any kind of wind. So we're on the lookout for that. The county department, Jeff McKinney and his crew and the sheriff's department have been good to get out with us and look at roads, but that is something that we're going to be real aware of over the next 24 to 36 hours would be some trees coming down if the winds get up. Mr. Oakley, that's all I have right now.
All right. Happy Valentine's Day Friday, everybody. Hear motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. Thank y'all for coming.
I've got some stuff I need to sign, please.
Already got text. The principal's all.
I only say that because,
Yeah.
the examiner will write us up, and we don't have a student player surplus.
Get it down. You already got
Hey, y'all don't forget the chamber coffee is at Career Tech Thursday. Day after tomorrow. Yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry, Alex. I'm sorry, I forgot it. Thursday morning at 9. Thursday morning at 9, the chamber coffee.
Thank y'all. I'm on Valentine's Day.
Where's that?
Sure.
Okay.
No, there was one other thing.
Oh,
I'm gonna have this. If you just want to look over, it. This is, we talked about. Ray Ward looked over it and approved it, and I didn't have to get it on the agenda, because he just emailed me this afternoon. But if you want to read over it and clean
We in agreement, we're going.
well, we're gonna vote on that. Ray Ward looked over it. It's got the language that says they can't sell it.
They can't borrow it for the year.
Right. But, so,
I usually get all
I didn't have time. You didn't have time.
I might have talked
We
too
didn't,
much.
we didn't even have a, dispute thing.
I was really thinking Sheriff Season was gonna go to 12. You couldn't hunt him, you couldn't really hunt him. I tried it. ain't mine. If I'd been there, but I went. And I was in the shooting house, my God, I said, this ain't gonna let them drive. It's nuts. Here in that range, you don't have